Shalom, all praises due to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rachak Wadash, double honors to the elect, apostle, bishops, elders at Great Millstone, and Ruel. Shalom to elect, Ak out there doing this work in sincerity and truth, and not for vainglory in season out of season. I just want to go right into it. This is John, the 8th chapter, and the 44th verse. Okay. And it says, Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. In him, when he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Now, it says, ye are of your father the devil. Now, Yahweh Shai, okay, was talking to the Jews that didn't believe in him. All right, the so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians that didn't believe in him. Okay, and he called them, ye are of your father the devil. Now, the devil, the churches think this is talking about the spiritual devil, you know, but it's really talking about the physical devil, which is the so-called white man. He is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And the word devil means false accuser. Okay, you can go in the Blue Letter Bible and you can look it up. The word devil means false accuser. And that's what he does. He falsely accuses the nation of Israel before Yahweh every day. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You know, look what your people are doing. Look what these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans doing. They ain't eating pork. They're murdering each other. They're committing adultery. They're part of the LGBT community. When he's the one that's pushing this whole agenda for so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to do so, which are the Israelites, by the way. Okay, so he's the false accuser. So Yahweh Shai is calling 2/3 of these Negroes, West Indian Haitians. He's calling them, you are your father the devil. You just like the so-called white man. Okay, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning. Yeah, because when you go into the scriptures, it tells you about Cain and Abel. Okay, all right. So Cain was the first murderer on the earth. Okay, and guess who Cain is? Cain would be the so-called white man. Abel would be the so-called black man. Okay, all right. So let's go to it right quick. Okay. Matter of fact, yeah, let's go here and let's go to it. This is Genesis 4th chapter, the 8th verse. All right. It says, okay, matter of fact, let's go to, okay, let's read it from the first chapter. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, meaning he had sex with her, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh. See, you have to read. It says, and she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. See, Abel brought the right sacrifice. Okay, he brought the animals to be sacrificed, like how is the custom of the priests when they used to do the sacrifices in the holy temple. Okay, they used to bring the animals, the sheep, the lambs, and so forth. Okay, it says, but Cain was a tiller of the ground, so he brought him stuff that came out of the ground, fruits and vegetables and so forth. It says, and Abel, he also brought of the fatlings. It says, and Abel, he also brought of the fatlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. It says, and Abel, he also, which would be the so-called black man of today. Abel was the so-called black man. Cain is the so-called white man. He also brought of the fatlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And Yahweh, the Lord, had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering, he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. Yeah, because he didn't bring the right sacrifices. Okay? Because when you go in the laws such as the commandments, what does the Lord say? Look, sacrifice this lambs. You know what I'm saying? Sacrifice this sheep. Sacrifice these animals. They are clean animals, okay? But Cain brought some bullshit, man. All right? It says, and Yahweh, the Lord, said unto Cain, which is the so-called white man, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? It says, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So yeah, Cain is just going to be a fucking murderer, man, and just be completely filled with the spiritual demon Satan, okay? Because that's what makes Cain tick. That's what makes the so-called white man tick, the spiritual demon Satan. It says, and Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. You see? All right, because the spirit that was in Cain, which is the so-called white man, is not upright. Like the scriptures say, the spirit that's lifted up is not upright in him. Okay? Cain is he's the devil, man. He's a murderer. He's the first murderer. Okay? All right? It says, and Yahweh said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? You see how wicked? Now the scriptures say you're supposed to be your brother's keeper. Okay? All right? But that's the spirit that's in Cain, which is Esau, the so-called white man. All right? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. You see what I'm saying? So, you can read further into it, but Cain slew his brother. So let's go back. Okay. Let's go back to, matter of fact, let's go back. Let's go back to John. All right. It says, ye are of your father the devil, which he was alluding to who? The so-called white man. And the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning. See, this is in the book of Genesis, so this is the beginning. So did the spiritual demon Satan come down and murder somebody? No. The spiritual demon Satan, the devil, the spiritual devil, Satan, the spiritual Satan, whatever you want to call him, was and is in the spirit of his physical counterpart, Cain, which is the so-called white man. Okay. All right. He was a murderer from the beginning during the time of Cain and Abel, and abode not in the truth. Right. That's why he brought the false sacrifice, the wrong sacrifice. And he knew what to bring, but his spirit is not, the so-called white man's spirit is not geared to doing what's righteous. All right. All right. Because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Exactly. Am I my brother's keeper? I don't know where he at. When he murdered his brother Abel, which is a so-called black man. Okay. Let's go to another scripture. Okay, because you can say, well, wait a minute. That's the devil. That's Satan. That's the spiritual demon Satan. All right. Okay. Well, no, this is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan and the devil. All right. Let's go to the book of Zechariah. All right. All right. This is Zechariah, the 11th chapter and the 5th verse. It says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So who are our possessors? Okay. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Who are your possessors? The so-called white man. And you know goddamn well who your possessors are, man. You know goddamn well about slave ships. You know goddamn well about the North American Indians. Okay, land being stolen. You know goddamn well about the Caribbean islands and Haiti and how the so-called black man and black woman was brought over there to go over there and serve slavery. You know goddamn well about slavery in America. Okay? All right? You know goddamn well that the so-called white man stole the land from the North American Indians and murdered them to get their land and their natural resources in his land. Okay? All right? You so-called Mexicans, you know goddamn well that the so-called white man stole and murdered you and went to war with you, okay, for Arizona and Texas, okay, and New Mexico and Los Angeles, okay? You know goddamn well, man. All right? Okay? Who possesses, slay them. Look what's happening to you so-called Negroes now, man. You getting shot down by the police. Okay? All right? You know goddamn well who's doing it, man. Okay? All right? The majority of the so-called black men and black women, Latino and Native American men and women are getting shot down by the police. You know goddamn well who's running the show. You know the so-called white man is doing it, man. You done seen on TV of the so-called white officers murdering so-called Negroes, man. Latinos and Native Americans. All right? Who possesses, slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Yeah, they, some of them get some time. You know what I'm saying? So-called white people get some time. White officers get some time. All right? But then a lot of them get away with it. And they've been getting away with murdering you so-called Negroes, man. Latinos and Americans, seen or unseen, whether it's televised or whether it's not televised. Okay? They've been getting away with it for a long time. All right? Have they paid for slavery of you so-called Negroes? No. Why? Because he's a murderer, man. Okay? Who possess or slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Not guilty. Why you think you so-called Negroes riot, man? Because these people get off. Or they get a light sentence, man. Okay? And they haven't paid for all the murder and bloodshed that they did to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? Okay? All right? So we know who Cain is. He's the first murderer. He's the first murderer on the earth. And our possessors is Cain, which is the so-called white man, which is Esau. Okay? So hope you've been edified. And with that, Shalom. So-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Shalom.